Welcome to another session of Technology by Performix. I'm Ken Umansky, your host, as we explore more of the world of technology. Today I have as my guest Alex Hublein, the president of the U.S. division of Nensurit, where he leads the effort to help small and medium-sized businesses navigate the complexities of digital transformation. With over 3 decades of experience in IT and business strategy, Alex is passionate about demystifying technology for small and medium-sized businesses and providing actionable insights to drive efficiency and innovation. At Nensurit, Alex works closely with business leaders to develop tailored strategies that not only enhance operational efficiency, but also build resilience and adaptability in an ever-evolving digital landscape. Well, welcome, Alex. Thanks for taking the time. We really enjoy having you today. Um,
Thanks for having me, Ken.
Terrific. Well, one of the things I'm looking forward to is in our discussion today is to hear how your experience with how small and medium-sized businesses are implementing AI. I think we hear a lot about AI, and that's some of the questions we'll get into, but I'm not sure how it's being implemented, and I'm hoping you can shed some light on it. We look forward to that. So let's get started. The first question. There's obviously been a lot of buzz about AI in the media over the last year or so, but it seems like more people are talking about AI than are actually implementing, and especially implementing it successfully. Are there any trends you're noticing, or I'm sorry, or what are you seeing from on the ground perspective? You're in it every day. What do you see?
Well, Ken, I think there's a couple of things that we're seeing, and if you kind of contrast small and medium businesses with maybe larger enterprises, a couple of things we're seeing. One is that small and medium businesses are actually adopting AI, at least at an individual sort of personal productivity level, quite a bit more rapidly than enterprises are. And I think part of that is that a lot of them see the immediate benefit. They'll go out and use a technology like Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT or what have you, Google Gemini. They start to use it and they start to explore with it. And then they see, oh, wow, this thing can actually do something for me as an individual from a personal productivity standpoint. So we've seen a pretty significant adoption. I think there's still some barriers to adoption. I still think there's some significant questions in the SMB world about, well, what can you actually use this thing for? The nice part, though, is that people will experiment with it and they'll see what works, they'll see what doesn't work. So I think there's been a great deal of acceptance of AI at that sort of personal productivity level. Where we're seeing less of an uptake, although we're seeing this increase pretty rapidly lately, is using AI at more of an organizational level. And so by that, I mean using AI to take business processes, to take things that are very repetitive, very cumbersome to do, et cetera, and using AI to start to automate some of those processes. And that's really where the larger enterprises have been focused. They're making some very big investments in AI. And what we've seen is that they're doing it at more of that enterprise level or that corporate level or the group level within an organization. So we're definitely seeing some good trends there, though. We're starting to see some of the small and medium businesses that we work really think about it. They're working with it more effectively, but they still need some guidance. They still aren't 100% sure, what can I use this for? What can I not use this for? What are the right use cases? What are the use cases that maybe I should avoid with this type of technology? So we spend a lot of time with those small and medium business customers, working with them to identify the right kinds of use cases for automation and for efficiency and productivity gains, and then working with them to build out some of those capabilities within their organization.
Do you think we're past the oh wow stage of development for AI? And are we going to get into a more business approach to AI, meaning looking at ROI and looking at what am I getting out of this rather than just, I got to do this?
Absolutely, and that's really where we've put our emphasis. It's not so much on the, hey, look at what you can do with Copilot or Chat GPT. I mean, we have training and enablement offerings that we go in and we work with our customers to train them on how to use those tools at a sort of a personal productivity level. But we also have a service that we call Innovate, and this is really our innovation as a service digital transformation solution for small and medium businesses. And the neat part about that is that they're really starting to look at this and say, how can we use this technology to increase our productivity, increase our efficiency at that company-wide level with company-wide business processes. But that we're finding that's the area they actually need the most advice and they need the most support in doing because these things get complicated very quickly. So I think it's starting to move past the gee whiz factor, the oh wow factor. Let me show you what this thing can do. It's really, really cool. Um, to more of that perspective of wow, we can actually use this to save money, to reduce risk, to avoid costs in the future. And ultimately, what we're really starting to see the beginnings of is companies, small and medium businesses looking at this from the perspective of how can I use this to increase my competitive advantage? And that's sort of that last step that you take, right? That's the last step. Once you've kind of gone through the personal productivity and you've kind of worked that out, and you've gone through the company level productivity and efficiency gains, we some of our more leading edge customers are really starting to look at this and say, how can we use this as a competitive weapon? How can we use this to gain competitive advantage out in the marketplace? And it's still very early days there, but we're starting to see that trend more and more with our customer base.
Do you think small businesses and medium-sized businesses are looking at it as a competitive advantage yet?
I think they're starting to. I think one of the interesting things about small and medium businesses is that to develop solutions that automate their unique business processes, their unique challenges, and to take advantage of some of these opportunities out in the marketplace for competitive differentiation. The problem in the past is that if they wanted to do that and they really wanted to gain competitive advantage, the costs were just too high. The costs of developing these solutions were prohibitive. They don't have $1 million or $5 million to go spend on a custom bespoke solution to give them competitive advantage, or at least very few of them do. But if you can bring that cost down, instead of $1 million, now it's $100,000 or it's $50,000. Now you've opened up an entirely new white space in the market that most providers have never been able to penetrate. So the small and medium businesses have been using commercial off the shelf software. They've made a big move into software as a service, and that was kind of the last wave. And now a lot of them are thinking about, well, using a piece of software that's off the shelf or using a SaaS software, well, my competitors can just as easily go use that, right? It's hard to get any kind of sustainable competitive advantage if I'm using the same technologies and tools that my competitors are using. But if I can have a partner that can come in and help me develop technologies that give me a unique competitive advantage out in the marketplace, now we're talking. But again, traditionally, it's been very, very expensive to do that. It's been cost prohibitive. And that return on investment just wasn't there. The payback period was 10 years as opposed to 10 months.
Yeah.
So that's huge. That's the cost of building these things has gone down dramatically and continues to decrease over time.
It seems like there are a lot of companies out there that are looking at finding a way to operationalize AI and doing it cost effectively. So, you think that's where we're going?
I do. In fact, that's one of the biggest things we see with our small and medium business customers is that, I mean, look, they don't have the wherewithal to go build these things. Hiring people that really know AI well is both difficult to find those people and very, very expensive. It's kind of nice to be an AI person these days, right? It's the new hot skill set, right? So I think that they don't have the wherewithal to do that. But then the other thing we find is what most of them are really looking for, Ken, is they're looking for an end-to-end solution. They don't want somebody to just come in and build this thing. They want somebody to come build it. They want somebody to come in and secure it to make sure that it's got the right level of security for them. They want somebody to come in and support it. So if it starts hallucinating or it breaks or whatever, they need to be able to call someone who can fix it very rapidly for them. And then they want to be able to optimize it over time. The cost of a lot of the AI technologies continues to drop. In fact, we saw last week this Chinese AI model DeepSeek is massively undercutting the pricing around OpenAI and other providers in the US. And so we think those costs are going to continue to drop. So one of the things we offer as our service, this Innovate service, is not only will we come in, understand the challenges, help you prioritize them, help you ideate and choose the right use cases, the use cases that are appropriate for AI within your business, but then we'll also build it, support it, secure it, maintain it, and optimize it for you over a long period of time. So the small and medium business owner doesn't have to worry about any of that. They have a solution that can help them be more productive, more efficient, or add new capabilities that they can use as a competitive differentiator out in the market without having to worry about the details. Like, I don't want to have to worry about any of that stuff. I just want someone to do it. So we're very focused on providing sort of this end-to-end service, and we're getting a lot of very, very positive reactions from the market.
That's terrific. Yeah, I think you're in a good spot. Can you share some of the examples of good use cases versus some that were not so good, and
Yeah,
how AI has been adopted?
absolutely. So when you think about a lot of the AI technologies that are out there today, particularly generative AI, what we're finding is, picking the right use cases, good use cases is, and I'll be honest, it's not an exact science at this point. It's part art, part science. Um, but what we're finding is, there's sort of some general categories of these things. Like, so for instance, one of the things that we do is we build very intelligent chatbots for our customers. So these chatbots can answer very complex questions. They can, for instance, be digital sales assistants to our customers' sales force. Or if the salesperson has a question about product features or interoperability or pricing or how to sell this or whatever, they've got that companion where they can go to it, ask the questions that they may not have immediate access to, and also seek advice on what are the best practices for implementing this product. Does this product make sense in this customer's environment? Let me explain to you the customer environment. Now you tell me, does this particular product we have in our product lineup make sense? And for companies that have dozens or hundreds of products, that can be very, very powerful because the salesperson doesn't have to know things like that. So that's kind of one category that we see. The second use case that we see is from a business process automation standpoint, but looking at automating processes that today only a human can do. They require that level of human intelligence where they have to make judgment calls. They have to look at ambiguous information and make a decision around ambiguous information. We've always been able to automate business processes, but it was usually a very sort of formulaic, algorithmic. If this happens, then do this. If that doesn't happen, then do this other thing. And it was all very linear, and it was all very, very plotted out in advance. So what we're doing with generative AI now, and some of the really, really good use cases, are when I have a business process that's many steps long, and at each step, or at least in some of the steps in that business process, I need a human to make a judgment call, or I need a human to go sift through a lot of information that would take a human a long, long time to sort through. Now I've got the AI able to take hundreds of pages of documents, summarize those, and then make decisions based on what they've processed. So those are turning out to be some very, very good use cases for us right now. Now, I think as the computer vision capabilities improve, the ability to look at images and make sense of the images, which we have today, but when you look at things like we have a customer of ours that wants to do, and we haven't built it yet, but they want to look at satellite photos and make decisions about satellite photos and about the characteristics of those using AI. So that can be a potentially interesting use case, but it's a harder use case, right? That's one of those use cases that we've got the technology now. The trick is, can we do it cost effectively for them? Can we train the AI model to look for these very specific things they're looking for? So those are some use cases that are on the horizon. What I'll call bad use cases are use cases that we see that involve just, I think, inflated expectations. I want this thing to do something very, very complicated, right? Like, I want this to take all of my financial statements and all of my accounting, general ledger entries and everything else, and then formulate a 5-year plan for me. It's like, we're not there yet, right? we're, we're not quite to that point where we can do that. So a lot of it just comes down to expectations of what people want. We're trying to start relatively small, start with some well-known processes within the business, ones that are costing them a lot of money, that require humans today, and automating those and using AI to give them some of that human level reasoning capabilities.
It's interesting in medicine. Right before Christmas, I had a podcast with a plastic surgeon in Toronto using AI now he does facial reconstruction, and he said he can be a lot more precise in how that looks before he does any surgery on it. He also said AI is also helping him. You can now take your telephone, your cell phone, and basically take a picture of your face, scan your face, and then
It's amazing.
they can do that and tell whether there's something wrong with you. They can diagnose
Mm.
that. That's scary, but good. So anyway,
It's incredible. The direction of the technology is unbelievable, and I think we're really in the very early days of this. So I think the use cases will expand over the next 2 or 3 years, and I think we'll start to see some huge productivity gains. Because the interesting thing, Ken, is if you look at the productivity, I read a McKinsey study, or I can't remember who it was from, recently, that said that if you look at enterprise companies, their workers are about twice as productive on average as small and medium business workers.
really, wow.
And you say to yourself, wow, if the big companies are the only ones that can afford to do AI, guess what happens to the small and medium businesses? They already have an advantage. And now, if they can take that advantage with AI and increase their advantage,
Yeah.
it's going to be very difficult for small and medium businesses to compete. So we go in and we ask a lot of small and medium businesses, what's your AI strategy? And I got to tell you, Ken, 90% of them will tell you, well, we don't have an AI strategy. And we're like, look, you need one. You really need to think about what you're going to do here, because this will happen, and it is happening a lot faster than people realize. This isn't the kind of thing you can wait, well, we'll do that next year or the year after. It's something you got to really be focused on right now. And you got to choose a good partner to help you out with this. Because again, if you're a small and medium business, the chances are you're probably not going to be able to find an AI expert to come in and do this for you by hiring them directly. You're probably going to struggle to afford those people, even if you can find them. So finding a good partner that can kind of come in, work with you, and take those technologies end to end and deliver solutions that are secure, that are supportable, that are optimized over time. We're seeing a lot of great interest in that as a service out in the marketplace.
Terrific. Let me ask the inevitable question. Where do you see AI going, and what would you say small businesses need to think about in this emerging arena?
Yeah, well, there's a lot happening, right? So the first trend that we're seeing is this idea of agents, digital agents. Um, if you think of 2024 as the year people started to use generative AI and other AI technologies to improve their productivity and their efficiency on sort of an individual basis, I think 2025, what we'll see this year is the rise of intelligent agents. And by intelligent agents, I mean not just taking a business process and automating it, but creating a set of agents that can do things that are very similar to what a human can do. So, for instance, I might have an agent that needs to go through and look at a bunch of financial information across a wide variety of sources, and then consolidate that information and make predictions about the future. How will this company perform in the future? Um, but I may want to break that agent down into a bunch of other agents. There might be an agent that goes off and does research for that other agent, goes off to the web and looks at websites and pulls back data and pulls back financial information and research. And then I might have an agent that specializes in summarizing and categorizing and processing that data. And then I might have another agent that's really, really good at writing reports in the right format that I want them in. So I sort of have this controlling agent that then sends different tasks out to those other agents, just like a manager would do. with 3 people working for them. I've got my research guy over here. I've got this person that consolidates the information and summarizes it. And then I have a person over here, and their job is to go write the reports and put it in the right, nice format that our constituents expect it to be in, right? That type of modeling and that type of technology, that's really where we're seeing the industry going. So that's one big trend. The second big trend that we're seeing is just the sheer intelligence of these models is increasing dramatically. There's been a lot of talk in the media about we've hit this wall. There's no more training data. We're just not seeing that at all. We're seeing the logic and the reasoning capabilities of these models increased dramatically. Even in the last 6 months, we've gone from, let's call it third grade reasoning skills to PhD level reasoning skills and decision making skills. And we just see that continuing to increase and continuing to get better. And that lets us tackle more and more complex problems with these agents.
Alex, inevitably, we're out of time. Let me thank you for today. I think we had a great discussion. I think you really helped our audience learn a lot about how small business and medium-sized businesses are implementing AI successfully and some of the hurdles that they're facing, because God knows there are a lot of hurdles out there. I want to thank you again for your time and insight. How can people get in touch with you if they want to talk to you?
Yeah, well, a couple of ways. One is you can go to our website, which is www.netsurate.com, or they can reach out to me at my address, which is just alexh@netsurate.com. And that's NETSURIT.
Thank you. Don't miss the next episode of Technology, when we'll discuss how technology is changing some other business segment. Remember, you can always find Technology podcasts on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. And if you need help with any size technology challenge, please contact Performance Business Solutions at performancebiz.com. I'm your host, Ken Umansky, and until we meet again on another technology podcast, keep innovating.